They stand approved. Item E, we have the Smart Thermostat Program presentation by AMP. Joel, do you want to get started?
Yes, it is started, and today we have Adam Ward. I'm sorry, I'm bad with titles. You're the vice president of all the fun and cool things that.
That would be an awesome.
That would be. No, I mean, Adam covers a lot of environmental compliance, and which encompasses the Focus Forward program and running programs like this, which is the Community Energy Savings Program for smart thermostats that is aimed to help with our peak shaving. So it's a voluntary program that they're rolling out right now. We're the first community to get the presentation, so we're the lucky ones. And Adam, I don't know, turn it over to you or Aaron. And we have Aaron Miller here too, and I'm bad with titles, so.
Okay. I like the assistant of all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Fun and cool things,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay, well, thank you, Joel. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council President, council members for having us here today. Genuinely appreciate it. As Joel mentioned, this is our first presentation for the Smart Thermostat Program. We've reviewed it with our Board of Trustees already, and we are in the rollout stage. So you're getting an early view. So, so I'm going to run through a little bit about AMP. I think most of you know who AMP is. You're very familiar, but I'll just run through the highlights, and then I'll turn it over to Aaron to get into a little more of the nitty-gritty details of the program. So as Joe mentioned, I'm Adam Ward. I'm the Senior Vice President of Member Services and External Affairs. I like his moniker much better. I'll take that all day. So for those of you that don't know, we are American Municipal Power. We're the not-for-profit wholesale power supplier and services provider for public power systems across 9 states. We serve approximately 650,000 meters through our members, and generally a 3,500 megawatt peak load. AMP has roughly 200 employees. We're based in Columbus. Strengths are strong financial ratings, diverse energy portfolio, strong industry partnerships across the country, very respected across the country, regulatory and legislative presence, as many of you know, breadth of staff experience, and most recently our AMP-T program. So our mission is to serve members through public power joint action, innovative solutions, robust advocacy, and cost-effective management of power supply and energy sources. We have values of integrity, member focus, partnership, employee engagement, stewardship, innovation, and accountability. And this is our footprint. So we have a strong presence in Ohio. We started in Ohio. You guys were one of our founding members. Just so you know, Napoleon's been an AMP member since 1981, so you've been around through all of our growth, and you've been a strong advocate for AMP, the joint action, economies of scale that we can bring to members. Joel represents Napoleon on AMP's Board of Trustees, chairs the AMP-T Transmission and RTO Committee, and serves on additional committees, including the Focus Forward Advisory Council, which looks at innovative solutions to help members across our footprint. This program started in the Focus Forward conversations, and we've been looking at it for probably 3 or 4 years. It never quite worked out, but through economies of scale, it's making sense at this point for a lot of our members. Napoleon already participates in a number of AMP programs, including Eco Smart Choice, Efficiency Smart, Key Accounts, many training and safety programs, and mutual aid. If those don't ring a bell, we can talk about it later, or you can talk to Joel about it. I'm sure he can speak to them. A number of our generation projects, I think you guys participate in almost all of them.
Almost.
Yeah. So you're in a great position, very diversified portfolio, designated by the American Public Power Association as a smart energy provider, RP3 platinum level. I mean, these are great achievements. You guys run a really great system here. And achieved multiple safety and awards for excellence from the APPA and AMP. So kudos to all of you here. So this, as Joel mentioned, this program is designed to help with peak shaving. That's the whole point of this. It is a proposed subscription-based service, so members participate with AMP. They sign a contract saying they're going to participate. It's developed at the request of members. We've had folks asking about this for a number of years. We've been looking at it, hammering away, trying to figure out how to make it work. And technologies have advanced to the point where it makes sense for a number of our members, not all of our members, but quite a few. And we're seeing a lot of I'd say, dynamic pricing when it comes to power prices. So there's quite a bit of unpredictability right now, and this program seems to make sense for a lot of members. So I guess with that, I'll turn it over to Erin Miller. She's our Assistant Vice President of Sustainability and runs a number of programs. So I'll let her take it away from there.
Great.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. So I just have a few slides to run through just to talk about kind of what we're talking about with regard to peak shaving and how that works in transmission and capacity costs, and then dive into the kind of the program details and specifically how the program would work, what the costs are, and kind of what the benefits are for your community if you would like to participate. So on the costs, so all of our members, including you guys, have seen transmission and capacity costs increase. And why that's important is because it makes up a percentage of your total wholesale power costs. So you pay for energy costs and then also transmission and capacity. And your costs are about, for next year, it's about $13 of your $81 total cost is from transmission and capacity. And every year, either of those costs, like transmission is going up every year. Capacity costs go up and down, so it's quite volatile. So this past year, the cost just went down, but we're projecting it to go back up next year. So keeping control over those transmission and capacity charges is really going to help reduce your total community wholesale energy price. So it'll save money for your entire community, your businesses, and your residents. So this is just showing the first energy transmission demand charges over time. And you can see that yellow highlight is where we're at today, and then the projection going forward is how it's going to be increasing over time. And you're in the first energy or at-sea zone is what it's called. And it's just like the zone of the region within PJM that Napoleon falls. So this shows you how much of your transmission costs affect your power supply. So this is the portion of your power supply bill dedicated for your transmission costs. The red line is showing you how much of after peak shaving. So you're already participating in peak shaving projects through the behind the meter generation projects, like the JB2 units and other peaking units. So those help reduce your costs right now. So the white that's shown there on the graph is showing you what the total cost of transmission is, and the red is showing what you actually pay from the savings from your current peak shaving efforts that you're already doing. So this is showing you what the capacity charges are, so that two-part transmission and the capacity. So the capacity portion is here, and you can see it goes up and down. There isn't like that solid kind of up line that you saw in transmission, but it's quite volatile, so we never know really on a year-to-year basis what it's going to look like. And this is what your costs are for that capacity. So that white bar there is showing you your total, and then the red is showing what you actually pay after your savings from participating in that peak shaving project. So peak shaving, what we do, so we have the behind the meter generation projects to help with peak shaving, but we also have like this alert system. So our dispatch center monitors the weather and monitors what's going on in the entire PJM kind of transmission region. And then they look at the weather patterns and say, okay, it looks like tomorrow it's going to be 90 degrees, throughout the zone. It's going to be potentially a peak capacity day where the transmission lines are at capacity and everybody needs to reduce the amount of power that they're using on the system. And so we send out an alert to you to say, okay, this is a yellow day where, we could have issues, all the way up to a black day where we're definitely going to have issues. It's kind of varied in between. So that helps alert you to if you want to change the way the water plant pumps are operating, you can save money doing that. Or, you know, if you want to send out alerts to the community saying, hey, if everybody could use a little less electricity during the hours of, you know, 4 to 6, it could save our community money. So we have this alert system already in place, and we already have staff that are tracking this on a daily basis. And so this program would fall right in line with this alert system. So when we have a high alert day, that's when the thermostats that are enrolled in the program would be controlled or adjusted during those peak days. And I'll get into that a little bit more. But this is already in place at camp. So this is just a graph showing you the opportunity with peak shaving. So we talked about those behind the meter generation units do this. Thermostats that are connected through Wi-Fi can also be adjusted to do this, as well as any other connected device like electric vehicle charging stations or pool pumps or anything that's connected through Wi-Fi. And we're talking about thermostats that will control air conditioning during peak days.
Next one or this one? Next slide?
Yes.
Okay.
So, as we talked about, the whole purpose is to reduce transmission and capacity charges, but it's also to help improve customer engagement. So this provides you an ability to talk with your customers and engage them about reducing energy during peak times, and also providing them an incentive payment to participating in the program. So it's a positive touch point that you can have with your customers. And for ATSI, so the zone that you're in, your estimated benefit is going to be $17 per thermostat, and that's a net benefit. So it actually costs $80 per thermostat, but your benefit net is going to be $97 and I think 16 cents. So about $17 per thermostat that's enrolled in the program. Next slide. So Energy Hub, we looked at proposals from 7 different vendors, and we had our board and our Focus Board Advisory Council kind of comb through each of them, and we selected Energy Hub as our partner. They have many clients in the public power space as well as in the investor-owned utility space. This is all they do is these kind of it's called Distributed Energy Resource Management System, but they're a software as a service company. And this is a service that they offer, and this is all they do. But they're owned by Alarm.com, and they have over 100 full-time employees. They're based out of New York. And the main thing is they have partnerships with all of the thermostat vendors. So like 99% of any type of thermostat that's out there, they have established relationships with. So our program would be a bring your own thermostat program. So any thermostat that's out there, as long as it's connected to Wi-Fi, can be adjusted during those peak shaving. So it's not just for Google Nest customers, it's not just for Honeywell, it's for anyone who has Honeywell, Sensei, Amazon, all the ones that are listed there, Emerson, Carrier, so like 99% of thermostats that are out there, this program would cover. The other nice thing about them is that they also have partnerships with other types of technologies. So in the future, if all of our members wanted to expand this from like thermostats to like electric vehicles, after electric vehicle adoption, you know, if it takes off, then that could be something that could be easily added to the program without having to restart with a new vendor. Next slide.
When you're, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
When you're talking about like vehicle, you're just talking about vehicle charging, correct? Not actually taking energy back from the vehicle and selling it back.
Right.
You're just talking about charging and shutting off the charging or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
like controlling, like like when it charges and things
Okay.
like that to help community.
Okay, thank you.
So how it works is, so once we reach a critical mass of members, meaning we can't do this without having joint action, without having economies of scale. So once we reach a critical mass, which for us is 2,300 thermostats total amongst all of our members, then we would enter into the contract with Energy Hub for 5 years. And then your contract would like mirror the contract that we have with Energy Hub to provide the service. You would be charged, as I said, $80 per thermostat per year for the 5-year period. And then we, if you sign up though before December, because we need that critical mass in order to sign the Energy Hub contract, you wouldn't have to pay for the first year of the program. So your first invoice wouldn't come until January of 2024, and it would be on your power supply bill. And the savings would also be reflected on your power supply bill from the transmission and capacity costs as well. So that wouldn't occur until January of 2024. And the reason is because your savings are delayed a year, so the board really wanted to make sure that there was a easy benefit for members to participate. And so AMP is putting up all the costs for the program and taking on that risk so that you will pay when you start seeing savings. That makes sense. So your customers would sign up voluntarily. So what will happen is if you decide to participate, your customers within your zip code area would get a notification through the thermostat. So they have like an app on their phone, or the thermostat vendor has their email address, and the thermostat vendor sends them like, hey, your public power utility has this program available. You'll get a $55 gift card if you participate and agree to have your thermostat adjusted during peak demand days. And then if they say, yes, I'd like to participate in that, they just click on the app, sign up for it, or send it, through email, sign up for it, and then you get notified that a potential customer has signed up for the program. You verify that they are in fact your customer, and then they receive that $55 gift card for participating. That's how that works. And then the next slide on the events. Like I said, when AMP sends that peak alert notification, our dispatch center would also receive that same alert. And what they'll do is through the Energy Hub platform, they'll set the thermostats for that following day to cycle down. So what will happen is the thermostat will pre-cool the home. So it'll go down about 2 to 3 degrees a couple hours before the peak event to cool the home so that the residents don't realize really that it's warm. Because during the event, it'll go up 2 to 3 degrees during those hours, and it won't do it for more than 4 hours. That's the max amount that it would do it. And then after that time period, the home would return back to its normal set point after that time. So, and that would happen no more than 15 times a year, and only on weekends and holidays if there's an emergency, like a grid emergency. Otherwise, it would be during the day, during the week. Yeah, and the other thing is customers can opt out. So let's say they're like, oh no, I'm having a party today, and we're gonna have a ton of people in the house, and I don't want my air conditioning to be, cycled down. They can select to opt out of the event as well. So it's voluntary for them to participate, and it's voluntary for them during that specific event as well. Most people don't though, because either they're not home or they just don't realize, because there's a pre-cool, it's not uncomfortable in the house, so they don't realize it. There's about an 88% participation rate in each event. So most people do participate in the event. So you still get those savings, the energy savings in the program. And the next slide is just talking about reporting. So we'll provide you performance reports. We will not be able to provide you exactly like which household participated, only because we won't have that information, because the thermostat vendors are very protective over that information, but we will have an aggregate. So for your community, how many of the thermostat customers are enrolled and what percentage participated, and then what those savings were for you. So we'll be able to provide you those reports. And the next slide is just talking about how we estimated the benefits and the assumptions that went into it. So as I said, you're in the ATSI zone, so it's a $96.61 per thermostat benefit. So over the 5 years, you'll get $483.05 per thermostat that's enrolled in the program in transmission and capacity savings. And then, of course, you have to take out the $80 per thermostat cost that's associated.
And the more that participate, the more savings.
Exactly. On the next slide. So this is your specific estimated benefits. So one of the things, in order to hit our 2,300 kind of minimum threshold to participate, and for you not to pay the first year of the program, we're just asking for a 2% of your total residential total residential meter counts to be enrolled in the program, which for you would be 103 thermostats. So this is a breakdown showing what the cost benefits are for those 103 thermostats. So over the 5 years, signing up before December, you would have a net benefit of $18,000 of participating in the program. So it saves the community money. It gives you an ability to have the program available to your customers and engage with them on this. And I don't know. Okay.
And it's like competitive.
Yes, and then slate from the dynamic pricing from transmission and capacity costs. I think the next one might be the last slide. So, so we would enter into that 5-year contract once we have enough members that we're interested to hit that threshold. So the goal is to have agreements in place with all the members by the end of the year, and then offer the program for next year's peaking season. And the members every year after that would have a window between October and February to sign into the program to offer it for the following peaking season, which is that May through September timeframe during the summers. And yeah, I think we covered everything else. So this is just our timeline. Like I said, we're hoping to see which members are interested by the end of the year, and then launch the program when we have enough interest in January. Is there any questions?
If a citizen wants to sign up, are they signing up for all 5 years? Or if they want to not do it after 2 or 3 years, can they opt out?
So it is a 5-year contract, but you could get out of the contract. The only thing is that the thermostats that are already enrolled in the program would have to be paid for through the end of it, but you wouldn't have to like offer it anymore or enroll any new additional thermostats.
Are you talking about each individual person, or are you just
Yes.
talking about the city?
No, the person.
Oh,
So
the
each customer.
customers, I'm sorry, I thought you meant the city.
Nope,
I
customers.
apologize. So the customers, no, they don't have to participate for all 5 years.
Okay.
Most people, once they participate though, at least Energy Hub has found that they just stay in the program because it's like a set and forget kind of a thing once you sign up. But yeah, they don't need to stay. It's voluntary.
And the incentive that the customers that sign up for this get would be the $55 gift card. That's a one-time gift card,
Yeah.
so they don't get anything for the following years for remaining in the program?
Except the savings.
The community gets the savings.
Yeah.
Community gets the savings, they don't.
Well, during that, yeah, yeah.
May I ask, on page 18 with the figures shown for the savings, do you know the amount of participants that were used in that model to estimate those savings? Like, was it the 2% figure? Okay.
It was the 2% figure, so that's the 103 thermostats. So it's 2% of your total residential meters.
Okay.
Joel, do we have any idea how many people in Napoleon have a smart thermostat they can do this?
I don't know.
Does anybody around the table have one?
I do.
I do, yeah.
2? Three, four,
5.
five, half? Okay.
The people that you did this testing on, did they have a smart thermostat prior to this or after?
So most people, according to Energy Hub and their experience, most people will sign up just through their thermostat they currently own. So
Okay.
they'll get the notification through the thermostat vendor and they sign up that way. Some people may purchase a thermostat through the Efficiency Smart program because there's a $100 rebate through your energy efficiency program. So they may get one through the program and then sign up, and so they'd get $100 off, and then the $55 incentive to participate in the peak shaving program.
So they can double up on that.
Yeah.
So through Efficiency Smart, they can get $100. Through this program, they get another 55.
How much is one that would have that capability? I don't even know how much they cost roughly.
The
Rough
Amazon
guess.
ones are the least expensive, and I think they're $55. The Nest thermostat that Google offers, those can run from, I think, $150 to like $220, depending on the model.
Well, if it's going through Efficiency Smart, doesn't have to be bought locally?
No.
No,
No?
you just have to have the receipt.
Okay.
That's the other question I have, with having a smart thermostat already using Nest and getting emails and having the ability to adjust the temperature myself. So if I see the alerts from Napoleon putting out, and I can adjust that on my own instead of paying somebody else $80 a year, will that still, I mean, me doing it myself, will that still save if I'm doing it consistently? Okay, and so the $80 basically pays for the third-party company to monitor it and actually change the temperature for me. Okay, I just
And the
wanted
gift
to
cards.
clarify.
Plug in.
Yeah, and the $55 incentive.
Right.
Isn't built into the- Yeah.
Okay,
It's an orchestrated platform where our dispatch center would be able to deploy all of them at key times.
right.
But if you get the alert, you could absolutely do it yourself, and your community will recognize the same savings.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Council President, may I add a
Yes.
couple? So, we've been in Washington DC lobbying for transmission costs and transmission project oversight over the last 5 years or more, could be more, I don't know. And, this attacks that. The board, and me being one of the vocal ones on this, has had a focus on driving, or at least prioritizing, energy costs for our residents as a priority. And that's a focus, and you see it in the mission and value statement. And I do like that we do provide the incentives on the Efficiency Smart side, so, they can double up. But a big component of this that I think is really key for people to know is that it's controlled by the third party. And what that does is, I think that helps maintain privacy for the residents. And having, signing up through a government program or something, I think can be a little worrisome for some people. But since it's run by a third party, privacy is maintained. We don't have any of the information. AMP doesn't even have any of the information. It's all controlled by the third party, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. Lori, did you have a question?
I was just curious, so the adjustment will always take place based on what the customer has their thermostat set at already? It doesn't have to be because some people might already have it set at 65, and it goes up to 68, it's not that great,
Right.
so.
Yeah, it'll be based on like degrees down or degrees up from where the current set point is.
Just 3 to 4 degrees,
Yeah.
so probably negligible. Just anecdotally, I talked to a family member last week whose community instituted this year, and he's been pretty impressed with it.
Yeah.
And I think they supplied the thermostats for anyone who wanted to participate, so seems positive to me.
Anybody else have any questions or thoughts on this?
So in terms of action, right now, you got the presentation. I don't know if you want some time to digest this, or if everybody's wants to take action now, you can. Not necessary right now, but if action is needed, there would need to be legislation. You have a draft agreement already that, we can review. Have Billy take a look at it too, but eventually we would need legislation to enter into a contract for this program. So are you looking to have contracts entered into by the end of the year, or, okay, so, we're in August, so we've got a little time, and, we can have this assigned to a future council agenda for more discussion, and then have legislation brought back eventually, if council approves.
Sounds good to me.
I would say also, you say you have the legislation prepared now that you would show to Billy?
We have draft legislation and a draft agreement that we can share with them, for sure.
I think if someone would want to make a motion to direct the law director to review the draft legislation now and then bring it back to council 2 weeks from now or whenever, Billy, how long you would need that would save at least 2 weeks, instead of bringing it back again, talking about it, and then you're gonna have to look at it anyway, and so it's not really making a decision on, yes, we're doing this, or no, we're not, but at least gonna get the process moving a little bit.
So you would like legislation brought forward? at the
Pardon me?
You would like legislation brought forward at the next council meeting, is that what you're?
Yeah, could be presented to us, and then we could go from there on the 3 reads. Would that give you enough time, Billy?
Yeah, I
3
think
weeks.
so, if,
Oh, yeah, we do have that.
if not, I'll let you know.
Okay.
How many would we need to make this pay? How many?
103.
103. 103.
103,
Resident.
thermostats.
Thermostats.
You join in, just
Correct.
103 people.
Yes. 2%, right?
Well, we do have quite a few elderly in the community. They're probably not gonna be savvy, at doing.
We'll find out. Let's see what we'll talk about.
Yep.
And to that point, and that's a good question, that's just based on the minimum, right? So if you get more participants, then the payback is,
Yeah, you
Goes
get
up.
more,
gets,
yeah.
so it'd be less, I guess, required. You're looking at it from the bare minimum perspective. We need 103 plus other communities
Right.
adding in. So if you hit the 2,300 threshold,
The people that.
Yeah, hold on a second.
you're good, but if you add more, it's even better.
Let me make sure I understand this. So if I have a smart thermostat and I sign up for this, I'm charged $80 on my bill?
No, Napoleon would pay $80, you wouldn't be charged anything as a.
I get the $55 gift card?
You get a $55 gift card.
Okay. And then the city then gets the savings then of approximately whatever it is over the 5-year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Much clearer now, thank
Yeah.
you. So if I'm selling at $80 a year and I'm not seeing a difference in my utility bill, it's a hard sell.
Yeah,
No.
right.
No, you're not paying anything,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll make the motion to have the law director bring legislation to the next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Okay. Have anything else for us tonight?
Thanks for coming, appreciate it.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
I thought for sure Lori was gonna ask if you guys can adjust our thermostat today, because it's very
thinking
cold in
that.
here.
Isn't it peak right now?
Hey, Lori, that could be our first thermostat, right there.
Can we do that? Sign us up. Because we're grandma sweaters.
Thank you for making the trip here. Appreciate it.
Safe travels.
It's a city thermostat, it's
Will
very
do.
smart.
That's right.
Thank you.
One of the old style Mercury switches. The digital one.
All right, we will move on to item F, citizen communication. If there's someone that is in the audience or on WebEx that would like to address council on anything that is not on the agenda, if you're here in person, you can step up to the podium. If you're on WebEx, go ahead and put it in the chat, and we will check those periodically. Okay, moving on to item G, reports from council committees. G1, Electric Committee did not meet on August 8th, 2022 due to lack of quorum. Item G2, Water, Sewer, Refuse, Recycling, and Litter Committee did not meet on August 8th, 2022 due to lack of agenda items. And item G3, Municipal Property, Building, Land Use, and Economic Development Committee met on August 8th, 2022. And Molly?
Yes, thank you. We were informed of possible options to reduce the deer population in the city. No action was taken, but we are going to bring that back in the spring of 2023.
Okay, thank you. Item G4, Parks and Rec Committee did not meet earlier tonight due to lack of agenda items. Okay, moving on to item I, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. We have item I1 is ordinance number 047-22, an ordinance approving current June 2022 replacement pages to the City of Napoleon codified ordinances. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
This is just something we do twice a year, and pages that we get replaced come from a review by a company, Walter Drain Company, and we contract with them, and they go through and update our ordinances to match any changes that we have made and the council has made in ordinances and what state laws have changed. So, other than that, just requesting first read.
All right. Do we have any questions or comments regarding this? Hearing none, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
All right, that will move on to second read. Okay, item I2 is resolution number 048-22, a resolution authorizing the approval of a Trex liquor license for Familia Guerrero LLC located within the city of Napoleon, Ohio, and suspension is requested.
Make a motion.
Second.
Joel or Billy? We got.
I was just gonna say that this is something that we did actually a few weeks ago for another business, and this request came from a existing business in town, not a new business, an existing business, that are looking to move their business to another location and treks in a liquor permit. So, and the business owner is here today, so I don't know if you want to come up and say a few words. Suspension is requested due to the nature of applying for the liquor permits. It does take some time, so this legislation would be needed, passed. As soon as it's passed, they'll be able to submit their permit or application for
The
a liquor
application.
permit, I should say, so.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. Is there a time limit? What do I?
5 minutes.
Oh, darn, okay.
And if you could state your name and
Okay.
address for the record too.
Okay, my business address?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Elvira Guerrero. We are at 501 North Perry Street here in Napoleon. And it's called Taqueria El Gordito, but it's Familia Guerrero LLC. I've lived here all my life. And so my grandparents migrated here in the 60s and settled here. My grandfather worked at Souders for 30 years, retired, went back to Texas, so my mom was raised here. She worked at Campbell's for 15 years. During that time, I was a teenager, and so I was very rebellious and resentful. If you guys know Campbell's life, she was there 12 hours, 7 days a week. Like, so I was the oldest of 5, and so, like, I hated her for it. So I became very rebellious, and then I became a teen mom at that time. I was not doing good in life. So, yeah, later on in life, when I was about 16, I think, my grandfather got ill and she had to leave. And so I basically had to fend for myself here. But the community lifted me up. I mean, I did so good here because there was so many members. I'm saying I have 5 minutes, but they lifted me up. They were responsible for me being able to provide childcare and work and feed my children, and eventually pushed me to get my GED, go to college, and it was wonderful. So I love it here. You know, I'm here to stay. Fast forward 8 years ago, we're working at Keller, my husband and I, and we're earning minimum wage. And one of the coworkers wanted us to make lunch. He liked our lunch, and he said, "Can you make me lunch tomorrow? I'll pay for you." And then it just grew. Eventually, I was making more money selling my lunch than what I was making at Keller's, and so we knew there was something there. We knew we wanted to do something. We knew we had to eventually do something to make more money to pursue that dream. And so we started installing flooring, just my husband and I, self-employed. We started doing that. We had an opportunity to buy a taco trailer. At the same time, we're trying to start this flooring business. And so the only thing I owned was my mobile home, and I sold it for $5,000. It was worth more, but I sold it for $5,000 because this taco trailer was available, and took the money, bought that. And so we were homeless, but my mom was already here, so we were able to go, you know, live with her and do that. And we were working. That's all that we wanted. And so with that work, we were able again to acquire a place to live. Took us 2 years to fix the taco truck, but we did it. And when we fixed it, and we had our license and it was ready to go, we thought we're gonna go do all the fairs and become millionaires. That didn't happen. Because I didn't know you can't get into the fairs just because you have a truck and a license. There's an actual, you know, you have to apply, and they can tell you no, and they all told us no. And so in comes Steve from Remax, who's here, and he saw us pedaling around our little trailer everywhere, and he started to find us locations to be able to sell, and we got a following our first year. In the following year, he said, "Well, what about you stay in one place?" And he said, "I know a guy." And so he hooked us up with Kyle Kearns over a vacant lot that, it's my understanding, was vacant for 15 years. So yeah, that was great. We did really good. At the end of that, Kyle said, "How'd you do?" I said, "We did amazing." It was awesome. And so he used his money to fix up the building for us to move in there. And so the rest is history. You guys have seen us have that ugly trailer out there. Thank you for your patience with that, because I for sure thought this thing is so ugly we're going to get kicked out of town. So we were able to stay, and I'm so, so happy for that. And we service the working crowd, and I'm happy to see some familiar faces in here. And I know the working crowd. I've been working since I was 16 years old, and I think that is why I am able to resonate with them. I'm able to communicate with them, and it's awesome. But I didn't know what you guys do. And so this morning I Googled it. Literally, what does city council do? And I was happy to see that you guys write the legislation for all the city projects. And I thought, okay, well, if you guys are doing a good job, because as long as you guys keep doing that, I'm going to keep having customers. And I'm going to be a business forever. So thank you for that. Yeah, so you keep it up, I'll keep having customers. And we plan now on moving to 1406 North Scott Street, the former KFC building. We have big visions for what we want to do there. We would like to start breakfast and hopefully add 12 employees, which is my dream, but we'll see. And the one thing that everybody's asked us since we were pedaling around was margaritas and beer. You know, it would be real nice if we have that. And so now that is why I'm here. I don't know how, but I was approached about a liquor license that's available, and the seller the seller left the option open to sell it if we don't. Like, he left that open, so that is why the urgency. You know, it was within my budget, and so if I don't move on this, he could still sell it. But it's there, and that is what we want to do. So, I know my time is up.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, so yeah, so that's the only thing that I'm worried about. That's why I'm a wreck, because if I don't get this passed, or if I don't move on it, he could sell it, and I will have missed this opportunity. So yeah, I'm investing everything that I have to bring this building back up to code. There was a couple things that need to get done, and I have made it my goal that all the money that I am investing is staying here. So my contractor is from McClure. My architect is from Napoleon. My electrician, my painters are all from Napoleon. And I have yet to find a plumber, but he will be from Napoleon. Yeah, and I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay for many years.
Awesome.
I'm looking to hopefully in the future, you know, start a nonprofit, give back, and the sales from this, I hope, will fund that. And that's my future goal. So I don't know, do you guys have any questions?
I
It's
just want to
really
thank
hard
you.
to-
I'm sorry. I just want to thank you for taking the time
Yeah.
to share your story with us. Something like this and knowing your business already would be easily approved without hearing your awesome
Oh,
story.
okay,
So I
awesome.
I
It's good to
appreciate
hear.
you taking the time to
Yeah.
tell us your journey
Yeah.
and even Googling like what we do. That's,
Yeah, I had no idea.
yeah, that's amazing to me
So-
to see somebody paying
Yeah.
attention to that, and then you even seeing that, how that's helping your business
Yeah.
by keeping others
Yeah.
around. That's great. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, when you started with the wagon, it's really hard to kick you out of town when it's always surrounded by voters.
Yeah,
Because you always had a
Yeah.
line. Every time I
Yeah.
saw it, there's always somebody, always,
yeah,
no matter the time of day, there's always somebody there.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, where you're at right now, when I go in there, there's always people in there, and it's always really fast, really good service at a really fair price, and,
thank you.
looking forward to bigger and better things when you
Yeah.
join Scott Street, so,
We're
congratulations.
definitely- thank you.
Absolutely. This
We're
is just-
trying everything that
that's
we
just-
can to keep
It's just
doing
hard
it.
work, that's just all that is.
Thank you.
And you're seeing it now, the fruits of it, so, yeah.
Yeah,
May I?
Yes.
Just a couple quick things. She's true to her word at working hard for the community, because Filling Home needed lunch cards for 200+ of our employees 2 years ago. And I know that was like a what?
Yeah.
But
No,
they
thank
got
you.
done. They did, and that was special. Also, I will have a hard time voting for this, just because your current location is at the end of my bike route, and we like to pick up tacos on the way.
Well, I will say that we plan on maybe staying open a month or two and compare sales.
Okay.
And if it's not worth for the two locations, we do have plans for that. So we will be getting rid of the flags that are out there, which I know are annoying, and putting a new sign. But my plan's there, because I have spoken with Steve and Kyle about what we want to do there, is to turn it into a makeshift like tamale and gordita factory to provide for the other, and then maybe turn the trailer into a tamale trailer, so that maybe they'll let us into the fairs. And so I do also have plans there to do something with it and beautify it and finally get a sign out there. I never wanted to get a sign, because I felt if I got a sign, then I was where I wanted to be, and I wasn't. And so now we are. So, yeah.
I will say, everything I've heard about what you guys do over there is absolutely positive. And the benefit of going to that, I think, for you is that drive-in window.
Yes.
A lot of people
I'm
are
so
gonna look at
excited.
that as a real
Yeah.
benefit to you guys.
Thank you. I'm excited.
I have no problem voting for you.
Thank you.
Dave.
Great to hear the encouraging story. You guys have been through a lot, obviously, and your journey has really made a big difference. It's encouraging to hear something like that. I was also encouraged to hear how you support the other local businesses. If a local businesses don't support each other, and you obviously get that, because the people that you're having do the work are all local people, and that's so important for local business.
Yeah. Well, there's other businesses in town that have also supported us, and I learned that.
Absolutely.
From that, you know, like
Absolutely.
the owner of Eddie J's, he would come down and be like, hey, if we can ever work together, how can we help each other, and things like that, you know, they weren't shady ever, and so that was great. Yeah.
I have one more compliment for you. The communication you put on Facebook is awesome. Through all of these, you know, the last couple of years since COVID, and a lot of times people are closing for one reason or another. It's very frustrating to get in your car, drive somewhere, and pull on the door. But you guys, your communication that you put out on Facebook is awesome.
Thank you, because
Saves
that's
us
always
time.
scary, but yeah.
Oh, no, and I mean, and you guys are real. You say,
Yeah.
hey, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
happening, it's real life, and,
Yeah.
yeah, so I appreciate that very
Thank
much
you.
as well.
Yeah, I will continue that for sure.
Joel?
Are you changing your name?
We are,
So it's gonna be Taco Fam.
it is.
Nice.
That's a little bit easier to pronounce.
Well, right. Number one, you're right. That is it. And then for years, I've always greeted people like my taco family, you know. And so when they helped us make the logo, if you notice, the first thing my husband said was like, "Oh, it's me, you, and Junior." So we have an 8-year-old, and I didn't even see that at all until they gave us a bunch of logos, and I thought, okay, it's true, because this has been an 8-year journey. He is 8. So he has been right there working
Awesome.
with us the whole time, and so, yeah, I love it, yeah.
I'll make a motion for suspension.
I'll second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll on suspension.
Yes.
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 Okay, if we don't have any other questions or comments, Marissa, please call the roll on the resolution.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that has passed under suspension on
Thank you.
first read. You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. All right. I don't know how we can beat that, but we'll move on here. Item I3 is ordinance number 049-22, an ordinance amending threshold amounts related to competitive bidding, purchasing, contracting, and expenditures. Joel?
I'll motion.
Sorry.
Second.
Joel?
Thank you, Council President. And I know, Lori, you weren't here at the last meeting, or, okay, yeah, it was Lori. So I won't belabor the points that we talked about in the committee and in last council meeting, but I'll just go over a few highlights on this, just kind of as a refresher for everybody and for Lori. Councilwoman Sinclair, sorry. The ordinance in front of you is to increase the bidding threshold amount from $25,000 to $50,000 as we see an increase in prices in goods and services. It's becoming more and more cumbersome to put together bids and requests for proposals and RFQs, requests for qualifications, to contract services over $25,000. And just so you know, there's a vast difference between putting together a purchase order and putting together a whole bid document, you know, to advertise, get bids, score them, and take it through that whole process. It's vastly different in the amount of time and effort goes into putting a bid document together. So we're running into this issue where we see more and more of our goods and services that we purchase hitting that threshold or starting to go over. So, and what that does is not only does it bog down the system for the department heads, but you know, it also bogs it down for the contractors, such that it can actually be more expensive, where you might lose out on a small contractor or even a large contractor for doing, you know, getting quotes from businesses rather than, you know, going through the whole bidding process. So you'll have a drop off in the number of companies that actually respond to what you're seeking to have done. So it can cost money and be more costly, but, you know, overall, there still is a checks and balances system in place where council does still review all of the AP reports and the bills, approval of bills. And, you know, through Kevin's and I's offices, we're not rubber stamps. We take the care and time to look at everything, make sure the purchases are necessary, and we do question things, and we do occasionally from time to time send things back to department heads, and you know, if things need to be modified or denied, or, you know, need a little further explanation, we get that. So, but that was it. I won't go into it any further unless anybody has any questions. So the request here is first read for changing the ordinance to allow for purchasing and contracting and bidding, the threshold to go up to $50,000 from $25,000. And just so you know, $50,000 is still the state threshold right now, what the state allows, but you know, they can change that at any time too, and I suspect that could happen. But this would just be to keep it at 50,000, not keep it at the state's level, whatever that might be in the future.
All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments about this?
Seems like we just raised it to 25,000.
16 years ago.
16?
Yeah. We had a discussion about,
Didn't we have a discussion?
we had a discussion, but we said no.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago it came, we said no.
Sorry we asked while you were gone.
I've been asked at some of these municipal attorney hearings, meetings, whatever, which cities still have the $25,000 threshold. I'm the only person who raises their hand ever.
Over.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other cities out there with a $25,000 threshold, but at these conferences, I guess I'm the only one who ever raises his hand, because
Well, now you don't have to. Well,
Yeah.
not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe
we'll
in
see.
a couple
Maybe in
weeks.
a couple reads, yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Good D on the right.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not against this, and I understand why we're doing it. My only concern is the perception of the citizens when they see this information across. That's my only concern. I had one comment, and it wasn't totally negative, but it was just more of a perception issue. So that's my concern. I agree with what Kevin said 2 weeks ago, that we have basically what I'm calling a check and balance system. But my only concern is the perception of the citizens, but I'm in favor of this at this point.
And I think if somebody does have a concern or question, they could call the city and either talk to Kevin or Joel or any of us here, and we can clear that up. I
if we
believe.
could make that an informed perception, that might be a great thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess that so far, it might not be.
Right.
I just think when you realize how long it's been since it's been raised, I think that's your biggest argument for it. Not too many things are the same price and the same kind of caps you had 16 years ago, so.
But if it would have been raised a couple years ago a little bit, part of the perception is we're doubling it.
I think
And that's part of,
correct.
don't
I
get me
understand
wrong, we need to
exactly.
do that, but, you know, somebody's
I
gonna
was
look at
thinking
like, by
matching
golly,
the
they're
state.
doubling it.
We've been slow to do this,
Right.
and do we want to have this discussion every year for $500, or do you want to just do it all at once and?
But you know what I'm saying, if
I
it
understand
would
what
have
you're
been
saying.
35, it would have been, it would have been logical to say, okay, 35 to 50, it needs to be done. We're going from 25 to 50.
Yep.
But it needs to be done.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
All right, that will be moving to second read. Item J, second readings of ordinances and resolutions. J1 is ordinance number 046-22, an ordinance authorizing the Ohio Department of Transportation to perform necessary work within the city of Napoleon, Ohio regarding the resurfacing and bridge repair project on State Route 110.
Motion.
Second?
Joel?
Thank you, Council President, and this just allows ODOT to work within the city limits on State Route 110.
Did we get the response back if they're going to do the rest of 110 for us?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. I'll probably ask that each time we come back to it, or if-
Absolutely, yeah.
Or in your
Oh, that's a big deal.
Friday
yeah.
FYIs or something, if you do get that, if you could let us know that, that would be great.
Definitely.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Corey, since you weren't here? Where they're gonna be working like right by Campbell's up to
The city
P3
limits.
or, yeah, the
Yeah.
city limits. Chad had asked if, they would continue on and go all the way to Appian, would it be?
No, I think they're going all the way to, at least Appian, maybe it might even go all the way to Perry.
Okay. And.
That'd be nice, because that stretch between Appian and Perry is probably the worst.
Yeah,
I thought he said Perry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
okay. So, and I forget what he said, like what percentage we would be paying or,
It's a lot cheaper than having our own crew come in, but
right, yeah. So he's trying to get them, ODOT to agree to that.
Or if they're already mobilized, if we can use the contractor
Right.
that's already there to,
keep going.
yep. Yes. We'll make sure that that's communicated as soon as we find out.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments? Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, that will be moving on to third read. And we have item K, third readings of ordinances and resolutions. K1 is resolution number 043-22. A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to apply for and accept Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement Program and Local Transportation Improvement Program funds for projects deemed necessary by the city engineer in the year 2023 and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion?
A motion?
Second.
Joel?
Thank you. And this allows us to apply for issue 2 funds from ODOT.
All right, any other questions or comments on this? Hey, hey, you're not Rox. Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
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 You know you pushed this back a little bit for you being gone and Roxanne being here a couple weeks. I've had it. There you go. Okay, that is passed on third read. Item K2, ordinance number 044-22, and ordinance amending ordinance number 053-21 regarding the compensation of certain City of Napoleon position classifications in and for the year 2022 and declaring an emergency.
I'll motion.
Second?
Thank you. Joel?
Thank you, Council President. And this is to adjust the pay range for the part-time firefighters.
All right. Any additional questions or comments on this? Okay, hearing none. Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, that is passed on third read. Okay, item L, good of the city. We have L1 is discussion or action, approved power supply cost adjustment factor for August 2022 as PSCAF 3-month average factor 0.02226 and JB2 0.112995. Joel?
Thank you, Council President. And this is one of the more interesting of the bills, I think, because of the, we're catching this April usage, May and June for the 3-month rolling average in terms of usage months. And in April, if you recall, we did have a significant, I would say significant cost to our Prairie State project. due to congestion around that, where it's at in southern Illinois. And then in April, we started to see the gas prices climbing, and they peaked actually in June. So that really doesn't affect us a whole lot, except for the Fremont Energy Center, which is the natural gas plant. So we saw gas prices climbing in May, spiking in June, then they kind of dipped back down in July. So the next bill, we'll have the congestion issue drop off in the next bill from the April, and then July, we had a dip in the gas prices, but so far in August, we're starting to see them climb back up, and they're back up to the high levels again. So around $8.50 per MMBTU right now. So I just checked it before we came in. So I've been kind of monitoring that a little bit more, since it's such a volatile market for natural gas right now. So this is, you know, hopefully we can stabilize after this, but, you know, a lot of it's dependent on what's going on with our natural gas and energy markets. But for the most part, we'll be pretty stable around the 13 cents per kilowatt hour range.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, that has been approved. Item L2, discussion or action, PC 22-04, subdivision replat of Lot 4 of the replat of lots 25, 26, and 27 at 222 East Front Street.
So the planning commission met, unfortunately, I wasn't there, but I talked to Kevin and some of the members afterwards. It was I think they had a 5-minute meeting, and I'm probably long on how long the meeting was. Kevin read the terms and conditions, and it sailed right through planning commission. So it's the replat, and I think there's a picture,
Okay, yep.
and Joel's trying to find it, but basically, yeah. The way it looks on the map is you have all of those in one parcel, and basically you're breaking it up, and so you have different buildings actually in different parcels. Is that a good way to describe it, city manager?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
a bunch
it
of
was-
buildings on one parcel now
Yeah.
being broken up into different parcels where that's separating out where the
So he
buildings
can,
are.
if he wants to move forward and he can sell a building without having to sell the whole parcel, is basically what he wants to do, I'm sure, so. It was approved unanimously through planning commission.
All right. Anybody have any questions or comments? Have a motion to approve?
No motion.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 All right, that has been approved. Item L3, discussion or action on purchase of a 2022 Ford F-550 chassis regular cab dump truck off state contract for the electric department. All right. Should we pick on Greg, or you got this?
I got this.
All right.
So I got it up on the screen here. This came from Valley Ford Truck. And this is state term contract. This is for cab and chassis. That's $64,422. And then what we have to do is then upfit it. Let me scroll down from the quote. And we use Kaleida Truck to do our upfits at $25,500. Overall, it's about $89,922 in total. And if you recall, this is the vehicle that we're replacing because of the vehicle that was
Cemetery truck.
cemetery truck that was incapacitated because of it started on fire. So it has been it has been scrapped. We have an insurance claim of $10,000 and some change, And also, we valued the vehicle that's coming from the electric department at $40,000? $40,000, so the $10,000 from the insurance claim and $30,000 from the cemetery trust fund will get transferred into the electric fund to offset the cost for the new truck, so that it can transfer, the older electric truck can transfer down into the cemeteries department.
I think you mentioned before that the electric department, this truck that is getting passed down would have needed replaced in a couple of years. Is that on rotation for a few years from now?
It is on a rotation.
So then that
So
just
I
kind
think
of.
it's a 10-year rotation, which would give it another 3.
Okay. So that'll save us some money in 3 years. We're not gonna need to replace, not bumping another one up in its place. It's still gonna, they're all in the same
That's right.
schedule?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yep.
good. All right. Anybody have any other questions or comments? All right. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Okay, that has been approved. Item L4, discussion or action, professional design service agreement with Powers Engineering Incorporated for the Napoleon IS-5 line relocation project in the amount of $237,811. Joel?
Thank you. So the electric department put together an RFQ. They reviewed 4 responses and had Powers Engineering was the best scoring consultant to come in and do the engineering work for and this is for the industrial substation, moving the behind-the-meter generation line. So it has to be reconfigured so that the rebuild of the industrial substation can be completed, designed and completed, but that line has to be moved and sectioned off so it connects to where the line drops down into the south side substation. So, this is for the line movement, and we've allocated $800,000 total so far for all of the work to be completed for this portion of the substation rebuild. But just know that once this is completed, then on the back end of that, the next step is to enter into a design contract with whoever it is, work with AMP Transmission on the design portion, and then eventually complete the reconstruction of the industrial substation. So in collaboration with AMP Transmission. Greg, is there anything else that I didn't cover or you wanted to add to this?
That pretty much covered it.
Okay.
I was gonna add that the cost of the electric industry has really skyrocketed. So we were gonna try with the remaining, 550, is it left roughly?
Yep.
We were gonna try to do as much work as we possibly can within the city, have my guys set the poles and string the wire 200 feet to the south is what they're trying to come up with to make room for the rebuild of the sub. So, and when they just to set the poles and string the wire, I'm sure that's gonna run $250,000 right there, close to it. And they're talking about putting in, switching to isolate the south side from the generation. Like, for instance, if there was an accident or something on the south side of the line, you would have to take that out, and it was while they were gonna be wanting to run the generation. You had to separate the two. They were talking about putting in a switch gear, and that's something that the guys would be coming in anyways to work on whatever the situation was. So they could come and just manually take some jumpers off to separate those two instead of having switchgear do that. And switchgear in itself could run $100,000. And it may never happen in this whole scheme of things until we get the sub built. So that's just another way of saving that $800,000 that we allocated for it. So I think that we can really stay under that budget. I mean, keep my fingers crossed.
Right.
The what price of the electric industry is just crazy.
Mhm.
So, but I just wanted to bring you up to speed on what the plan was for seeing if our guys can do as much work as possible and alleviating buying switchgear that as soon as this was going to be done, it wasn't gonna be used, so we were just kind of throwing the money away.
Mhm. Thank you.
That's all I had.
Appreciate that. Joel, can you go down to the Appendix B page on there? Should be before that. There it is. When I was reviewing this, there was 2 paragraphs in the middle, the progress meetings. A lot of that seems pretty important there. Why is that all crossed out?
This isn't exactly a big job per se, but I mean, it's detailed. Todd pretty much has, I mean, you're gonna have Todd pretty much running point on this, is that right?
Yes.
Todd's got his finger on the pulse on running contracts, and, I mean, these substations are his babies. Progress meetings, writing it into the contract forces time into their contract. So, the way I see it is, costs go up. If you're forcing that, hey, we're gonna have progress meetings at these times, and they gotta build in those costs and that time for them spending on it. Where if they're designing it and it's just Todd at his desk working with the engineer that's designing it, and they're passing information back and forth, it's easier for him to just, do this, remotely, so to speak, I guess, as an as-needed basis. And for his, not to say that this is the small portion of the job, so it's not like a wastewater treatment plant project, where you've got a lot of moving parts. The moving part here is all driven by us. It's bilateral. It's not like we've got multiple processes that need to stay intact. If that makes sense. It's not as, see, to me, the progress meetings are something that are added into every contract as kind of like we're gonna have progress meetings, and this is what we're gonna do this every week. And usually on a project, yeah, you would have that. In this case, didn't think it was necessary.
So did they ask to have that removed, or did we remove
Yeah, I
that
couldn't tell you.
ourselves?
I think that was just discussed between him and,
Yeah,
Todd and.
Todd's familiar with this group, and I'm not quite sure what went on between, that conversation that they had. I can tell you that Todd's just wanting to make sure that there is a constant progression going on this whole project. And, because he's pushing. I told him to push. I don't want any of this delay just because of the costs right now that are going on, and the delays. And there's like Dana and ADS right now, they were all wanting to be changed over now. They're looking, it's sometimes 6 months to a year out right now on materials that you thought you were gonna get now. So that could be one of, I that's one of the things that preempted him to push on this progression. So,
How is this 237,811 paid? Is it one time, like after the project is completed?
it's gonna be, in increments. I think that depends on how, our kickoff meeting with them is this week. So we were gonna see if it was gonna be paid in increments or how we were gonna agree to do that.
Because that second paragraph says monthly status reports will be submitted with each invoice to provide current project status relative to submitted project schedule and cost. So if they're gonna be wanting money from us at each invoice, I would think that we would want them to provide what has been done and I don't know, Billy, if you could weigh in or what you think. I mean, you have to deal with these when things don't go well.
Yeah, it's a standard part of the agreement. Legally speaking, is it absolutely necessary? No, it's not. There was another section, I think, added, by the contractor, somewhere
Yeah, it's section
earlier on.
7.
And
Yeah,
I
and
wasn't
that was-
sure who had authorized that addition.
We didn't, that came from them, so that's still in the,
Yeah, that was something that we're kind of getting into conversations that usually happen behind doors at this point. But
Okay.
this was added, and Joel and I haven't had a chance to discuss it necessarily, but the question was asked by my office, who authorized this addition? Is this something that we're actually looking to do? Because legally speaking, can we sign an agreement that says some of these things? I mean, I think we can. I'm not sure it's a great idea, but at the end of the day, whether or not it's a great idea is not necessarily up to me. If I'm signing it, I'm signing it as the form. So that's a discussion that we'll have sometime in the future to see what to do about this section 7. But
and if we need to make modifications too, I guess the request today is to authorize entering into the contract with, the modifications that when Billy and I take a look at it. If we need to make a couple of minor adjustments that don't affect price.
we've had some paper conversation. He submitted the work form, and I reviewed it and asked some questions on the form and sent it back, but past that, we've not had a chance to further review.
Gotcha. So tonight, we're just entering into an agreement with this company, but we're still,
What exactly the agreement's going to say, most of it is hammered out. Some particulars still need to be hammered out.
okay.
Good question.
Yep, all right. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate, the conversation with Joel and County and Greg knowing that Todd knows what he's doing, that, it's been proven for years. But I just wanted to ask the question. Those seem like pretty important things that were just crossed off,
And
so.
the negotiations of that, the $800,000 allocation is gonna be things that I can bring up to whoever is awarded the contract. That I can say, I've already told Powers, that I want to be responsible for building the line, or the city's electric department, for expanding and relocating the IS5 line.
Mhm.
To save as much money as we possibly can.
Great,
And they're aware of that.
okay.
And this is standard language, because you can see, it's engineering departments listed in here, and engineering department hasn't, and isn't going to review that work. That's gonna be done by the electric department with Mike
Right.
Dietrich and Todd.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments? All right, so we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Okay, that has been approved. Moving on to item L5, discussion or action, acceptance of $1,500 grant from Walmart for air purifying equipment for the police department.
Thank you. There's a alternate, fire department, and police department, you guys alternate which each year for who's applying for the Walmart grants, and this year was through the police department. The air purifying equipment is for the evidence room, so,
Definitely needed.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Who would like to make a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
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 All right, and thank you, Walmart. Okay, we'll go around the table. We're gonna start with, Lori today. Welcome back.
Darn it. Should have written some
I
notes.
thought you usually get upset because somebody steals your thunder, so I let you go first and you're mad. Feel like I'm at home.
No, I just got home and noticed well, I noticed a couple of things driving into town. But the sidewalks on Park Street are almost all done.
That's right.
That looks fantastic. And the streets around Woodlawn and Glenwood.
And we got a lot done while you were gone.
Yeah, that's great. Speedy. So that's all I had.
Thank you. Molly?
I just wanted to comment on, the police department did a nice job with traffic control for the parade last night, so we were on point, so thank you. That's it.
I agree. Ross?
The storms that we had on August 5th, I was out of town but I must have been on the phone with Joel maybe 10, 15 minutes after they hit Napoleon, and he was already telling me, yep, everyone's being called in, cleanup's already starting, so just want to thank all the personnel and departments that contributed to the cleanup. The mayor says it all the time, the work that we do before the storm makes the work during or after the storm easy, and I think that proved itself once again, so nice job all around there. That's all I had.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
I think, like what Ross just said, we lost power for the first time for any kind of length of time, and we measured it in hours, and it was 2. That's the first time we've lost power that long in a long time, and too bad Greg left already, otherwise he'd be getting lots of kudos right now, but it's exactly what Ross just said. It's all the work we do when the sun is shining that when it's not, it shows during those kinds of times, so really appreciate all their hard work. I also appreciate, the fire department and all the rescues you guys have been on lately. There's that tragic accident on the old, or 424, and then also the fire at the grain facility, and, again, everybody coming back. That's the most important thing, you react to a fire like that, you never know what you're gonna find in a grain facility like that, but, to fight that with hand tools and get those big pieces out of there, that's not easy, but it's obviously, very appreciated by everybody involved there, so. Henry County Fair is going on, so you haven't been out, make sure you kinda get out and see what's going on across Great County. Lots of stuff's going on at the fair, so that's good. Welcome back, Marissa. Thanks for being here again, appreciate it. Oh, and we got this whole football game on Friday night, so let's go beat the Bulldogs. That's what I got.
Thank you. Dan?
Just to tap on to what's already been said, a great job for the city with the storm cleanup, and again, even with the power outages, 2 hours maximum is great. The only problem I had with it was, that was my first night of this term as president of the Lions Club, and the power went out 5 minutes before I was supposed to start the meeting. So I thought they were ready to impeach me already, but anyway, good job. Also, the Safety and Human Resource Committee will be meeting next Monday. That is to deal with the holiday issue that was assigned to us a couple months ago. I'm assuming Finance and Budget is not meeting?
Everything? Good assumption.
So I would like to move that up to a 7 o'clock start next Monday for Safety and Human Resources, that's all.
Okay. Ken?
I have nothing.
Wow. All right. Dr. Dave?
Tree Commission, we talked about, evidently there were quite a few holes that did not get filled with topsoil. and it has built a little bit, and they are deciding they're going to catch up. So you're gonna see a little bit of an increase in expense, trying to get those holes caught up, because if you don't keep up with when they're digging the holes and refilling them, it's just gonna continue to get worse. So expect an expense gonna be about $7,800, I think, if I remember, which they said is right around line with what they would have done if they only would have done the 2,000 some on the holes. Also, tree commission, they talked about 2 trees were knocked down from that storm, and they are looking into using cleanup in the fall and possibly tack those trees onto the cleanup in the fall. There was a little bit of a mix-up with the packets getting out to the people doing the cleanup. Somewhere the ball got dropped. Those people didn't even know that they were going to be receiving packets, so we had to resubmit the packets. So I don't know what happened with that. That's what was said, so that's all I've got. Oh, take it back. Do want to make one comment for the fire department. I know you guys were talking about getting the gear for the, being able to do grain bin saves. Have they had the extra training on that, or that's something that you're getting the gear and winding up to?
Well, we've had training in the grain bin safety before, and we do have all the rope rescue and everything, but this will be the first annual one that's coming to Napoleon for the grain bin that was built in the grain leg, so that's.
So you guys haven't had a chance to quite use the new equipment yet?
Correct.
But
So-
obviously, the old training really kicked in, and you did a great job out there
Yeah.
at
the,
Jewel,
at the
and
Jewel
thank
part.
you.
Yep, yep,
I know that can be a very stressful situation. Very much appreciate you having it.
yep, thank you.
That's all.
Can we go back to the mayor? He has a mulligan here.
Question, there seems like there's a lot more mulch out there on the yard waste site. A, because there's a lot of branches down, and I know it's supposed to be only be Napoleon citizens that can take that. Can we suspend that for 60 or 90 days? Let anybody that wants to have mulch come in and get it,
Yeah, let me.
to get rid of that pile quicker?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up with Jeff Rathke.
I was
Yeah.
actually there the weekend before the storm, and I noticed that we had a lot then.
Yeah, because he and I talked about grinding sooner, and mulch pile is going to increase, so, yeah, that's in the works. That we haven't had that direct conversation yet, but yes, we will
Okay.
tomorrow, and we'll get a plan around.
Okay.
Because there is an actual, as part of our NPDS permit with the Ohio EPA, we can't have that there for over a certain period of time. It has to be in and out.
Okay,
So,
I think there's, people ask me at the fair about, hey, can we get them, like, you're not from here, but let me ask you a question, because there's a lot out there, and if we can just suspend that we want to get rid of a lot of stuff out there.
Yep.
Not to contribute to the pile, to take away from the
Take
pile.
away, yeah,
Yeah.
right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll hear that takeaway part. They'll just say, you're welcome to use
I
it.
got a lot of debris from the storm, and I need to get rid of it somewhere.
All right.
Yep.
Need mulch, come on.
Billy, what you got?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Joel?
Nothing for me.
All right. I just want to thank the police also for a job well done, all the city crews. Actually, this year, I was able to be a part of the parade marshals for the first year, and I mean, it was eye-opening, you know, going out there, starting at 10 o'clock and marking things off and being there till the end. There's a lot of work involved that I never saw when I showed up at, 5:45 to watch the parade. So, and Neil Giffey, who's been running that portion of it for, I think he's been running for 20 years, but been on it for 30. Did mention at the end of the night, a couple people from the city, I believe he said Tony Coleman does a lot of work helping him out, and Perry Hunter. So if, Joel, if you can pass that along from them.
Did you ask him?
No.
Okay.
You think I was gonna forget?
No, I wouldn't, they'll never let you do that.
I think that's all I have. All right, Kevin, save the best for last.
Really appreciate that.
Not
Thank
because
you.
I forgot.
August 5th was the 100th anniversary of the golf course. And as somebody that attended, it was a very nice event. It was nice to have the singer there, and I thought it was pretty well attended. As somebody that just took up golfing again this year and have played that course several times this past year, the course, I believe, is in fantastic shape and can compare to any other course that we have in Northwest Ohio. And it is wonderful to see various people out there playing, from young to old to couples to just ladies night at the league night. I mean, it's being used by a lot of diverse people in the city and surrounding areas. So, you know, Joel, great job of getting that organized in the rec department. So, again, you know, that was something that was on life support, 8 years ago, or discussion.
Yes.
And I would hate to see it go away. I mean, it's done nothing but grown since that time.
I agree.
So, but it was a wonderful event.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, I'll have a mulligan real quick. The basketball court looks awesome as well. What a great job. I had no idea that we were doing that. And
That was actually Sean Thompson.
Okay,
He wanted to do it. He took the initiative and just made it happen.
looks great. Okay. All right, moving on to item M, executive session, with pending or imminent litigation. Could I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Joel?
Nobody's on.
Okay.
Everybody's off.
Could I have a motion to come out of the executive session for pending or imminent litigation?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and can I have N is approved payments, bills, and financial reports. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the payment bills and financial reports shall stand approved.
Do you see no action taken after executive session? Did I miss that?
You did not miss it? I didn't say it. I
I-
thought,
Go ahead.
no action taken.
I did have one question on the bills. Advertising for job openings. It's like $4.90.
Where?
Bottom of the last, or the bottom of the first page, I believe.
Oh, I'm on the first page, okay.
Where all do we advertise?
Where all? Gosh, all over the place. Where do we pay? Newspapers.
Okay.
Expensive.
Newspapers, all of our ads are pricey.
Do we track the applicants where they heard the ad?
I have to check.
'Cause maybe we should do
I
that.
think so.
I would think-
I think that we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do get a lot of Indeed
Mm-hmm.
hits, a lot.
Yeah.
But then the other ones that are more localized will get people that submit paper copies. I don't know where they hear them from. Could be word of mouth. A lot of them are word of mouth too, but that's newspaper. That's,
Just curious. Thank you.
yep.
All right, and they stand approved. Could I have a motion for adjournment?
A motion. Second.
Okay, Marissa, please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.